take you through new features of this release. Throughout the meeting, everyone will be muted. In case if you have any question, you can put it in the chat window and we will try to answer all of them at end of the session, or we will send a mail to your inbox. Today's agenda for technical deep dive is SDK enhancement, where we can talk about new features of CRM 2015 update 1, new form script capability and deprecated methods, calculated and roll-up fields in detail, how to trace a log, and alternate keys in detail. With the release of Microsoft CRM 2015 update 1, Microsoft has released lots of exciting features. We will cover brief introduction to all of the key features here and couple of points in detail with demo for each section. First one is alternate key. This is the most exciting feature of CRM 2015 update 1. As we know, all Microsoft Dynamic entity has unique identifier known as GUID. This is a primary key of particular record. When we want to integrate CRM with external database, we might able to add a column to the external database to have a reference to a unique identifier in the CRM. But in various cases, we are not allowed to change their database and to add a reference key to store the GUID of CRM. In that cases, we are not able to track the record in the system. With the alternate key, we can now define an attribute in CRM entity corresponding to a unique identifier used by the external database. The next point is calculated and roll-up field. Calculated fields are introduced in CRM 2015. Now in update 1, they have enhanced some of the feature. Will now be able to calculate the difference between the two date fields in minutes, hour, date, week, month, or year. They have also introduced a new method called now, which will return the current date and time, so that we can easily take the difference in date field and the current time. Next one is roll-up field. In this release, roll-up fields now support aggregate function like sum, count, difference, etc. Next point is ups for updating CRM with external data. The new upset request message reduces the complexity involved with the data integration scenario by doing an update if record is already exist or created if record does not exist. This is especially useful when we want to push data into the CRM and don't know if record already exists in the CRM or not. Next point is plugin trace logging. Here we can log an error occurred during the execution of any plugin to entity record of type plugin trace log, which will help us to identify the error which occurred during the execution of plugins. The next one is entity change tracking. This will help us to keep track of what data has changed since last data synchronization, so that we can update only those fields which are changed in the external data sources. Next point is multiple message execution. It's common requirement in a business that if multiple records are changed in the system, then all of them should be saved successfully. Or if some error occurred, then it has to roll back all of the record to the previous state. In this release, you can now execute 2 or more web services in a single transaction using execute transaction request, which will help us to roll back if some error occurs during the execution. The next one is optimistic concurrency. In a multi-user system like CRM, data changes will happen parallelly. Problem comes when two or more update or delete operations are performed on the same record at the same time. This situation could potentially result in the data loss. In this release, before updating or deleting any record, it will check whether is there any changes done to the record after application has retrieved the record from the server. If there is any change, then it will raise an error and necessary action can be taken. Custom action in workflow or dialog. Developer can still call a custom action using a code, but now action can also be called directly in workflow or dialog. Support for additional older than clause for date and time field in fetch XML and query expression. Until this release, CRM only had older than X month is available to fetch the XML and query expression. Suppose if we want to find activity done in last 15 or 30 minutes, which is not possible directly through fetch XML or query expression, for which we need to write a code with some complex logic to do it. But in this release of CRM, setting for the older than clause as added in fetch XML and query expression. That will help us to find the cases using granular levels like older than X minute, older than X hours, older than X, older than X weeks, older than X years. These are some of the new features which came up in CRM 2015 Update 1. Now let us look at some of these features in detail. Now let us look into the new form script capability in more detail. Here I will cover enhanced capability for subgrid control in the form, more option to open the forms, get show time method which is newly introduced in CRM 2015 Update 1, how to identify the type of device being used to access the CRM, followed by the demo of enhanced capability of subgrid control through JavaScript. Prior to this release, we only had refresh method for subgrid, but if we want to do any other operation on the subgrid, which is not possible directly, for which we need to write some piece of code with some complex logic to it. Now, we cannot call this refresh method directly in the page load method because subgrids are loaded asynchronously. To overcome this limitation, now let us look what new methods are introduced in this release of subgrid. As you can see, we have quite a few methods which help us to play around with the subgrids. Let's go one by one method to see what are the use of this method. First one is add onload. This method is used to add onload event handler to the subgrid. Whenever grid loads, it will fire method mentioned in the onload event. The next one is get entity name. This method will help us to get the logical name of an entity which is displayed in the grid. Get grid. This method will help us to get the access to the grid available in the grid control. The next method is get view selector. We can use the method to get view selector available for the grid control. Next one is remove onload. This method is used to remove the event handler which is attached to the grid onload event. Next method is get rows. This method will return the collection of all the grid row present in the grid. The next one is get selected row. This function will return the collection of all the selected row in the grid. The next method is get total record count. This method will help us to get the total number of count in the selected grid. If the web application of CRM or CRM Outlook is connected to the server, this will return the total number of records that matches the filter criteria of the view, not limiting to the number of visible row on the screen. When CRM for Outlook client is not connected to the server, then it will return number of records which has been taken offline by a user. The next method is get entity name. This method will return the logical name of a record in the row. Get ID. Return the get ID for record in a row. The next method is get current view. This method is used to get the reference to the current view of subgrid if subgrid control is not configured to display view selector. Calling this method on the view selector will throw an error. Set current view. Use this method to set the current view of an subgrid. We can do this by specifying GUID and the name of the view which we want to set. The next method is get date. It will return all the grid row data for a given grid row. With this method, we can get data like GUID or any other field value of a selected row. Get entity. It will return the grid entity of an given grid row data. These are the enhanced capability for subgrid forms. Now let us look what we have. What are the new options available for opening a new forms? The first one is open quick create form. Suppose if we want to user to add a child account to a parent account, then we can make use of this feature by allowing user to create a new child account in a quick create form, and on close of the quick create window, it automatically links this child account to the parent account. Here we can also mention what we want to do on successful creation of record, and also what can be done if there is an error by specifying the function success callback and error callback method respectively. The next method is open entity form. Will allow us to open an entity form in new browser window. The next new method introduced in CRM 2015 update is get show time. The get show time method is a companion to the existing set show time method. By using this method, we can identify whether the time element of the date control is displayed or not. The next new method is get form factor. This method is used to identify the device which is used by the user to access the CRM. As shown here, it will return a number from which we can easily identify what type of device has been used by the user to access the CRM. Now let's have a demo for subgrid function. Here I am going to demonstrate how we can bind load event to a subgrid and how to get the entity logical name which is bind to the subgrid, and also will show you how to get the current view name. So let's start the demo. Let me first show you the JavaScript which I have written. This is the JavaScript written for contact entity form. So as you can see on the screen, we have two functions, on page load and case grid on load function. On page load function is called whenever the contact form gets loaded. Within that function, as you can see, I am attaching onload function to an contact case grid. So whenever subgrid get loaded, it will call case grid onload function. Within this function, I am giving an alert so that we can easily identify the load event has been fired. Next, I am getting entity logical name by using get entity name method. The next, I have used get view selector dot get current view dot name to get the name of the view which is currently shown. Now let us look at how this function will work on the form. Let's go to the CRM. Click on the contact. Let's open any of the contact record. Now this JavaScript has been bind to case grid. So now click on grid sorting, which will trigger the case grid onload method. Here you can see alert which I have mentioned in our JavaScript. The next you can see the logical name of an entity, it is incidents. Next you can see the current view name as recent cases. Like this we can use all other function. Now let's go back to the presentation. As we have already gone through all new methods which are introduced in CRM 2015 update 1. Now let us look at the deprecated method of CRM 2015 update 1. As you can see, there are 4 methods which are no longer existing or will be replaced by a new method. We should avoid using this method in our code. The first deprecated method is get authentication header. This method was used to support CRM 4.0 web services. Now this method is no longer exists. Get server URL. This method was replaced by get client URL. Next one is Outlook client. This method was replaced by client.getClient. The last method is Outlook online. This method was replaced by client.getClientState. That's it from new form, script capability and deprecated methods. Now let me hand over to Mr. Subhash, who will take you through remaining topics.
Thanks, Laksh. So I will be continue with the remaining topic. I will cover calculated and rollup fields, tracing logs, and alternate keys. This will be in the format of introduction, feature, demo, and limitation. Let's start with the calculated and rollup fields. In Microsoft Dynamics CRM, calculated field let you automate manual calculation used in your business process. For example, a salesperson may want to know the weighted revenue for an opportunity, which is based on the estimated revenue from an opportunity multiplied by the probability. Or they want to automatically apply a discount if an order is greater than $1,000. A calculated field can contain value resulting from simple mathematical operation or conditional operations such as greater than or if else and many others. You can accomplish all this by using the CRM user interface. No need to write code. The calculated field comprises of calculations that uses the field from current entity or related parent entity. The expression support is available on the current entity and the related parent entity in the condition section and the action section. A rich conditional support provided branching and multiple condition. The logical operators include AND or operators. The visual editing capability include modern user interface and IntelliSense in the action section. A seamless integration of the calculated field with the forms, views, charts and report is available in the real time. New in CRM 2015 update 1 will now be able to calculate the difference between two date fields in minutes, hours, days, weeks, month or years. So let's have a demo on case open for number of days. In this example, I will add a calculated field on case to know the unattended or open case for number of days. So let's start with the demo. So let's go to the setting, customization, customize the system. And select the entity. In our case, for demo purpose, we are using the case entity. Now click on the fields and create a new field. Here we need to provide the display name, data type and field type. So I will give a display name case open since. I need to provide the data type. So I will be taking whole number and field type should be the calculate since we are doing the calculation. And click on the edit. Once clicking on the edit button, it will automatically create the field and it will open the visual editor where we can specify our logic. So as you can see, condition is optional. If you want to specify condition, we can specify. In our case, since we are calculating the case open for number of days, so I'm just checking if created on date is present or not. So created on date contains data, click OK. Now since it contains data, I have to perform an action. So I want to get the difference in two dates, so I will give diff function in days. Specify the first parameter as a created on date and the second parameter is now. Since I want to get the days in difference from nows and created on date, click OK. Save and close. Save and close. So we have created the attribute. Now we have to put this field on the form. As per our convenience, we can put this field on any of the form, but I will put this on the case form. Now let's put this field created by us on the form. Save. And publish. So let's check if it is working or not. Let's go to the service, open case. So we'll open any one of the case randomly. Let me open this case. So as you can see, case open since 23 days. So it's calculating very well, and this calculate in the real times. Whenever a user opens this form or in report or anywhere, whenever the retrieve operation performs, it will show you the real time data. So no need to worry whether when will it trigger. So that's it with the demo. So, and calculated field can have data type like single line of text, option set, two option, whole number, decimal number, currency, and date time. So let's go back to the presentation. Even though calculated fields solve lots of problem, it has certain limitation. Like saved queries, chart, and visualization can have maximum of 10 unique calculated fields. The calculated field value are not displayed in the CRM Outlook offline mode. A calculated field can't refer to itself or can't have a cyclic chain. In certain scenarios, sorting is disabled. For example, a calculated field that contains a field of a parent record. A calculated field that contains a logical field like address field. A calculated field that contains another calculated field. You can't trigger workflow or plugin on calculated field. You can't change an existing simple field to a calculated field. Duplicate detection rules are not triggered on calculated field. A rollup can't reference a calculated field that uses another calculated field. So that's it with the calculated field. Our next topic is rollup fields. So let's have a demo on rollup fields. A rollup fields contain an aggregate value computed over the record related to a specific record, such as such as open opportunity of an account. Also, you will able to aggregate data from activity directly related to a record, such as emails and appointments, and activity indirectly related to a record via the activity party entity. Visual editing is easy. You can create roller fields by using the field editor just like you do when you create a regular field. Seamless integration with the user interface. You can include the roller field in the forms, views, chart, and reports. Roller fields are solution component. You can easily transport the roller fields as component between organization and distribute them in solution. Roller fields are the calculate roller fields and the calculated fields are complement to each other. You can use a roller field as a part of the calculated field and vice versa. Full filter support for aggregation. You can set various filters for the source entity or related entity while setting up multiple conditions. Wide selection of aggregate function. You can aggregate data by using functions like sum, count, mean, max, and average. So let's have a demo on aggregate data from child activities. In this example, I will add a roller field to an opportunity to count all open activity for the record. I need roller field to display how many open activities remain for the opportunity. Let's have a demo. So let's go to the opportunity record. So as you can see, I have created some sample records for the demo purpose. Let's open opportunity 7. As you can see, this opportunity does not have any activity associated to it. So let me create few activity for this record. I will add a task. Give subject 7 close. Add another activity phone call. I need to add call to as well. So select save and close, and I will add one more record, appointment. Specify the subject, save and close. As you can see, with respect to this opportunity, we have 3 open activities. Now we have to add roller field to this opportunity. So we'll add a custom field of rollup type. So let me add a new field. Again, we need to specify the display name, data type, L field type. So we'll put the name open activities, since we are looking for the open activity. Select the whole number and put the type as a rollup field type. Click on edit. It will automatically create the field, and again it will open the visual editor. So as you can see, our source entity is opportunity, and we want to add related entity, for which we want to roll up to the parent opportunity. So in this case, we want to roll up activity. So select the related activity. Even you can choose any other related entity, but in our case it is activity. So click OK, and we have to specify the condition, which type of record should we roll up to the parent. In this case, we want only active records should be roll up. So we'll open and schedule. Okay, we can also include the indirectly related activity, but in our case we don't require. We have to specify the aggregate function here. So as you can see, there are various aggregate functions like sum, max, mean, count and average, but we will do the count aggregate function since we want to the number of open activities. Click count. Okay, save and close, save and close. So we have added the field, but it is not visible here. I think we need to refresh. So as you can see, the field is visible here. So let me put it in the form, save and publish. Now let me check if the field reflecting the roll up count or not. As you can see, the ruler field has been added, but it is not displaying the values. The main reason behind this, the roller will calculate the value at the interval of minimum 1 hour, or user have to manually calculate this by refreshing the button. So in our case, we will refresh this button and will check if the value is reflecting or not. So as you can see, it is showing the 3, as we had 3 open activity. Let me check if it is working when I am closing a activity. So let me complete this appointment. We will check again whether it's reflecting the value to 2. So as you can see, it has been reflected to 2. So that's it with the demo. So let's go to the next part, that is the limitation of the roller fields. Even though it's helped the programming, it has reduced the programming part, but it has certain limitation, like you can define maximum of 100 roll-up fields for the organization and up to 10 roll-up fields per entity. Similarly, it can't trigger a workflow. A workflow wait condition can't use a rollup field. Rollup over the rollup field is not supported. A rollup can't refer a calculated field that uses another calculated field. The rollup can only apply filter to the source entity or related entity, simple field or non-complex calculated field. A rollup can be done only over related entities with the one-to-one relationship. A rollup can't be done over end-to-end relationship. The business rules workflow or calculated field always uses the last calculated value of the rollup field. So that's with the rollup field. Our next topic is tracing logs. So in past version of Dynamics CRM 2011 or newer, developer have commonly utilized eye tracing service interface to log runtime information to help debugging problem in plugin execution. The ability to view these trace log has been bit limited. However, the developer could return an exception from the plugin back to CRM in a dialog window that allow the end user to download the log file. Or if the plugin was registered asynchronously, the tracing information is shown in the system job. Available with the Spring Update 1 of CRM 2015, system administrator and developer can now configure CRM to write trace log to a new CRM entity. These logs can be then be viewed within the CRM application. By default, permission to view the logs is enabled for system administrator and system customizer, but can be granted to other users. So let's have a demo how to enable tracing log and view the error. So, so to look the tracing, we have to enable trace log. So let's go for the demo. To enable a tracing log, we need to go to setting, administration, click on system setting. Under the customization tab, you will see that plugin and custom workflow activity tracing. And the option is enable logging to plugin trace. So in drop down you can see that there are three options are available: off, exception, all. Off means it won't track any exception, anything. Exception, it will track error log only there is exception in plugin or workflow. And all, it will trace all the error and event if there is, even if there is no error. So in our case, just for the demo purpose, I will select the all option and click OK. So we have enabled this tracing log. Now to check how it works, we have written a small program and we have already registered it on. So as you can see here, I have tracing simple information testing trace log entity, and we have registered this plugin on create of account entity. So let's have a demo how it works and how it display the error log on the system. So I will create a new record account. So let me click on new. So give the name as a tracing logs. Save the record. So let us check whether it is tracing log has been generated or not. In the settings section under the customization, you will see a new icon plugin trace log. So click on that. As per IST time, the current time is here 8:12. So as you can see there, a new record has been created. So let me open and check what information has been generated. As you can see, the generic information related to the plugin, it has been listed here. how it has been generated, what is the name of the plugin, what is the message, what is the primary entity, what is the type, whether it is plugin or workflow, and actual depth. And the thing, the tracing message. So as you can see, the tracing message, it has been listed here, that is testing trace log. So a developer can easily view this log and they can rectify later on if there is any error has been generated. So we have done with this. So our next thing is the limitation of tracing log. So there is a very basic limitation we can say. When trace logging takes up organized and storage space, especially when many traces and exceptions are generated. So that's it for the limitation of trace log. The next thing is alternate key. With the release of Microsoft 2015 update 1, Microsoft has released another feature, alternate key. Traditionally, we use CRM primary field to identify the records. All Microsoft Dynamic entities has unique identifier known as GUID. When we want to integrate CRM with an external database, we might be able to add a column to the external database table to have a reference to the unique identifier in CRM. But in various cases, it is possible that we are not able to change the database to add a reference key to store the GUID. In that case, we are not able to track the record in the system. With alternate keys, we can now define an attribute in CRM entity corresponding to a unique identifier. The feature of alternate keys like this is used to identify the duplicate records. If there are records with a specified alternate key exists in the system, then it will throw an error. This avoids users to write plugin to the identify the duplicate record, as duplicate detection rules allow the user to create the record even if it exists in the system. Alternate key can be combination of more than one attribute. With alternate keys, you can assure an efficiency and accurate way to integrate data into Microsoft Dynamics CRM from external system. So let's have a demo how to create alternate key and working of it. To define an alternate key, we'll follow the steps like, let's go to the setting. Click on the customization, open customize the system. So in our case, I have selected account entity to create alternate key. Let me click on the keys. Click on new. So we just need to provide the display name and the alternate keys combination. Here you can select all the field visible, means you can select only one field or the combination of fields. So we will not create a new field alternate key, but we have created, so we'll use that one. Let's see what the field we have used to create this alternate key. Here we have used account number and main phone to use this alternate key combination. So let's have a demo how it works. Cells and open the account record. I will create a new record and give name alt. Since you remember we have created alternative with a combination of phone number and account number, so I will provide the phone number as well account number. So let me save this record. So as you can see, this record has been easily saved. So we'll try to create another record with the same details and let's look what happens. So I have given the same phone number and same account number, and let me save the record. As you can see, a duplicate detection has popped up and it says that we have another record already exists in the system with this combination. So whether we want to continue or we want to cancel. So it allows us to create a new record. So let me create save. But what you can see that it shows a duplicate record and a message has been written, a record that has attribute value account number and mobile phone already exists. So it clearly says that you can't create another record with the combination which has the exact phone number and account number. So we can't create a record. So it has reduced the coding part. So user don't have to write code to work on the duplicate detection. So that's it, and let's have another example with respect to the coding part, how alternate key works with the coding. So we have another small coding written for the work with the alternate key. So let me open that code. As you can see, as we know, if you want to update a record, user always need the account name and the GUID of that record. So how alternate key help us? In this case, uh, instead of using GUID, we can specify the alternate key combination to update our record. So as you know, we had created a record with the phone number, this, and account number with the 1. So we will try to update that record using this key combination and we'll update the fax numbers. So let me check if it is working or not. So let me start. As you can see, the code has been successfully executed. So now let me check in the CRM if that record has been updated or not. So this record has not been created, the earlier one. As you can see that fax number has been updated. We had not used the GUID of this record, but we used the phone number and the account number to identify the record. So this is the benefits of the alternate key. This is with the demo. Let's go to the presentation. Alternate key also has a few limitation. Like alternate key can be created only on decimal number, whole number and single line of text, and can define up to only 5 different key for the entity. So that's it for the today's session. So we have covered all the topic mentioned in our agenda. Thank you so much for attending today's session. If you have got any question, you can always get in touch to us throughout our website or email us at info@thecloudfront.com, and you can also tweet us at cloudfronts. For the question which has already been asked, we'll answer them through mail. The presentation for today's webinar along with the recording will be mailed to all of you within 24 hours. Before ending today's session, just wanted to update with regarding to the upcoming webinar which are listed over here. So guys, have a good day. See you on next session on 21st October 2015. Thank you.